Greetings, welcome back to CS295. We're on week 3, and this time we're going to go over arrays. So it's kind of an extension of the variables. So that's arrays, just a type of variable. And again, hopefully you watched the video. But let's take a look at this real quick. All right, so we just went over variables and how those work, how you put it together. And we also talked about how the difference between JavaScript and a lot of other languages. So same concept here. This is how you create an array in PHP, or create a variable, right? But this is how you create an array. So this is slightly different than a lot of languages where you just have the square brackets, bracket notation type stuff. You actually create an array, right? So this is creating an array, and then you are filling it with whatever you put inside. And I'll give you some examples of stuff you can do with this, but here is one idea, right? Or here's how it works. Now, that being said, right, so this is unique. How you create it, you actually have to call array, and then command array, that will fill it, put that into this. But you actually find the actual items with the same bracket notation. So this will give me test1. You can loop through it like this. Now again, this order is different than some other languages, but essentially for each test array, so the name of the array as, and then what you're going to do it. So it echoes test. When it does this, it'll be test1, and then it'll come back test2. But that's the basics, right? The basics of an array. You have to create the array and fill it, and then you can call it the other way if you want to. You can loop through it. There's also the count command, so the .length for JavaScript. If you Python, this is similar to what Python is, except for it's len. So again, it's just a slightly different language. If you know how to program, you just got to pay attention to the nuances of what's different. So we'll go ahead and try this out with a good example. All right. So I have an array PHP already. So create your arrays PHP if you haven't. And then this is pretty much the same data that was in the basics. It just has all of our stuff in here. And I'm going to use this as our idea of what we can do in order to do this, right? So in this case, when we run this span is going to be red. All right, so we understand how all that works. Let's create an array of colors. All right, colors equals array. And then we're going to put all our colors in there. So let's go blue. Let's do green. And how about pink? All right, that should be good for now. All right, so what we're going to do in order to show this is first, let's just echo the first one, right? So echo, let's go ahead and echo colors 0, that was O. I am going to go add a BR up here, so I'm doing concatenation, and then release in front of it, and then let's dot and BR. And I don't have double quotes, but I was not going to do anything, so I know I can use double quotes there. But let's go ahead and do this loop, right? So for each, and then as I was saying, we're going to go ahead and the name of the array, so colors, as, now you can do color, oops, $. So colors is all of them, color will be the individual one, or you could also do as C to save us some time down below. I'm going to use color for now, but as an example, you can just something shorter to signify this is the whole array, and this is going to be one item as we loop through it. Now let's go ahead, and in this case, I'm going to do a couple different things. So we are going to concatenate a bit for this, and we are going to use a bunch of HTML. So let's do another span. In this case, style equals double quotes and color colon, semicolon, and then single quote, dot dot single quote, and then colors. All right, if you see what's going on here, whatever I put inside of the span is going to be whatever color, right? So it's going to loop through all the colors and make the span over and over and over again. And I could even just put what that is. So let's go dot dot that and color, and then let's close the span. All right, I got something wrong here, but we'll look over it real quick. So echo, we're gonna span the color. I think I have extra thing there. There we go. Okay. So color will be whatever the color is. So in this case, I'll start off at blue, and then we need to. This is the whole command right here. Not too far. Come on, go back to here. Well, all right. Maybe I get that way. There we go. Okay. So that's the whole style, right? So color, colon, and then it'll be whatever color it is, semicolon, and then the quotes around it, and the tag, and then we're going to add the color. So it's actually going to say the color. Let's go ahead and add a BR for good measure. So you know what? We'll just put them all on the same line, right? I will add a space, however, between them. So it should print off blue in black. All right, so we'll have hello world in black. We'll have this span should be red in red, again, or whatever I put here, because this has an ID of color, even though we're echoing it. Then we have these three colors. It's going to print just blue, but it'll be in black. And then as we go through these, it'll print the colors with the respective name. So let's save that one, refresh it, and just like I said, black, black, this should be red, and then blue, green, pink, right? It's the color that we say. So, and you can use this for all kinds of different things. I could fill a list, right? An HTML list with this array. I can fill a select statement. That's a very popular one, right? You can pull from a database, which we'll learn later in this class. Pull from a database, and then whatever's in that field, you can fill up a list. But that's the basics for this, right? We will go more in detail on loops later, right? I mean, again, should have already had JavaScript, understand what loops are. In this case, this is just a for each that's looping through all the items in it. And then we'll learn more about the different type of loops later. But that's your array, right? The big concepts it is created slightly differently, but it's still called the same way. When you use the for each, this is in a slightly different order but the same concept, right? As Python has for each loops. A lot of things have for each loops. So that's all there is in this lesson for arrays. We'll see you next lesson.